Humanity was considered primitive, until the Phase Armada made them fear us. HFY. The galaxy believed humanity was weak, slow, simple, but they were about to learn the most dangerous mistake in the universe is underestimating humans. 3 alien empires were watching Earth from deep space. To them, the blue planet was a curiosity, a young species that had barely stepped beyond its own moon. Their ships used crude engines. Their weapons were weak. Their science was noisy and messy. Humanity looked like children playing with fire. The Galactic Coalition sent a message anyway. Not out of respect, but out of control. A human ship was invited to a diplomatic station near the edge of known space. The vessel was called Aurora Dawn, and it was slow compared to alien ships, taking 12 days to reach the station. Inside, Commander Elias Rourke stared at the stars while the ship quietly hummed. Beside him stood Dr. Mara Voss, Earth's leading quantum engineer. She had dark circles under her eyes from years of secret research and a mind that refused to accept limits. "They think we are nothing," she said softly. Rourke nodded. "That's why they invited us. Not to welcome us, but to measure us." The alien station was enormous. It looked like a floating city, glowing with impossible light. Hundreds of ships from dozens of species moved around it like insects around a star. When the humans entered the main chamber, the atmosphere changed. Tall crystalline beings. Massive armored giants. Floating jelly-like creatures with glowing eyes. And at the center sat High Speaker Zirin, the ruler of the coalition. "You are humanity," Zirin said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "You come from a world that has not even reached true star travel." "We come in peace," Rourke replied. Some of the aliens laughed. "You burn fuel to move," Zirin said. "You use metal ships. You communicate with radio waves. Your science is charming." Mara felt her fists tighten. "You will be allowed to exist," Zirin continued, "as a protected species. In return, you will give us access to your asteroid belt and deep-sea minerals." Rourke's voice stayed calm. "That sounds like ownership." "It is," Zirin replied. "But it is better than being erased." The meeting ended quickly. Humanity had not been welcomed into the galaxy. They had been classified. Small. Weak. Useful. When the Aurora Dawn returned to Earth, global leaders were furious. "They want to turn us into a resource farm," one general shouted. "They think we are animals," another said. Mara stood silently, then spoke. "They are right about one thing," she said. "Our technology looks weak, in their space." Everyone turned to her. "But they have no idea what we've been building." Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, hidden from every alien sensor, sat something that should not exist. A fleet. Not large. Not flashy. But dangerous beyond imagination. It was called the Phase Armada. Mara walked through the silent hangar where dozens of black ships floated in magnetic fields. Their surfaces were covered in shifting patterns, like shadows that moved on their own. "These ships don't travel through space," she explained to Rourke. "They travel through reality." Rourke stared. "You mean, another dimension?" "Yes. We call it phase space. A layer between moments. Between places. We learned to step sideways instead of forward." A technician activated a test craft. The ship flickered and vanished. Sensors showed it still existed, but not fully. "It's invisible," Rourke whispered. "And untouchable," Mara said. "Alien weapons cannot lock onto something that is only half in their universe." The Coalition thought humans used weak engines. They didn't know humans had stopped using engines at all. Months passed. The Coalition ignored Earth. Until the screaming began. A new force appeared at the edge of the galaxy, a devouring swarm called the Varkul. Living warships. Endless numbers. They consumed worlds and turned entire civilizations into raw material. Coalition fleets fought them, and failed. Their weapons adapted too slowly. Their shields were eaten. Their proud armadas burned. One by one, worlds went dark. And then a coalition message was sent to Earth. "We request aid," High Speaker Zirin said, his voice shaking. "The Varkul are unstoppable." Earth's leaders looked at one another. "They called us primitives," Rourke said quietly. "They tried to own us," Mara added. "But if the Varkul reach us, nothing will survive." Silence filled the room. Finally, Rourke stood. "Activate the Phase Armada." Under Antarctic ice, ships began to glow. Across hidden bases in the oceans and deserts, more ships came alive. Humanity stepped out of the shadows. The coalition had believed humans were slow. They were about to learn the truth. Humans were patient. And patience, in war, is terrifying. The alien armada was dying. Across the burning sky of the Varkul invasion zone, hundreds of coalition warships drifted broken and silent. Their glowing shields had failed. Their powerful cannons had barely slowed the enemy. The living ships of the Varkul moved like a dark tide, feeding on wreckage, growing larger with every victory. High Speaker Zirin watched in horror from his command platform. "They were supposed to be primitive," he whispered. "How can they survive in this galaxy?" He was no longer thinking about humanity. He was thinking about extinction. Then something impossible happened. Coalition sensors picked up movement, but not in normal space. "There are no ships," a technician said. "But something is there." The Varkul reacted first. Their massive living vessels turned as if sensing a predator. Organic armor shifted and hardened. Tentacle-like structures released waves of bioenergy into space. But they were too late. Space itself rippled. Out of nothing, 13 human ships appeared, black, smooth, and silent. They did not glow. They did not roar. They simply existed. "What are those?" Zirin shouted. "No heat. No radiation. No drive signatures," an alien officer replied in panic. "They appeared out of empty space." Captain Alina Kale, commander of the Phase Strike Group, stood calmly on the bridge of her ship, Vigilance. "All vessels," she said. "Begin phase attack pattern." The human ships vanished again, but not away. They slipped half into phase space, becoming ghosts between realities. Varkul sensors went wild. "They are everywhere and nowhere," one of the alien commanders cried. Then the first human shot was fired. Not a beam. Not a missile. A thin distortion of reality. It tore through a Varkul cruiser like paper. The living armor did not adapt. It did not resist. The ship simply split apart. More shots followed. Each phase blade cut through matter as if it was air. Entire Varkul vessels were sliced in half, their biological systems unable to understand attacks that came from a different dimension. The swarm panicked. For the first time in their endless existence, the Varkul were afraid. "They are not in our space," the swarm mind realized. "We cannot evolve against what does not fully exist." Coalition forces watched in disbelief. Human ships danced through the battlefield, appearing inside enemy formations, striking, then vanishing again before any counterattack could form. One phase ship moved directly through a Varkul carrier, its hull half-phased, shredding internal organs and power cores without even touching the outer shell. High Speaker Zirin could not breathe. These are human ships." "Yes," his officer whispered. The Varkul tried to respond. They fired waves of organic energy. They released clouds of nanospores. They launched living missiles. None of it hit anything. The phase armada wasn't fully there. Captain Kale watched calmly as the enemy collapsed. "Focus on the hive vessels," she ordered. "Cut off their control nodes." One by one, the massive Varkul command ships were destroyed. Without them, the swarm lost coordination. The Varkul fleet began to scatter. Coalition forces stared in silence. They had been losing a war. Humanity had just ended it in minutes. Zirin opened a direct channel to Earth. "Human leaders," he said, his voice trembling. What have you become?" Commander Rourke appeared on the screen. "We became what you never thought we could," he said. "Prepared." The phase armada did not chase the retreating Varkul. They did not need to. The message was clear. Humanity was no longer prey. And the galaxy was no longer safe for those who underestimated them. The news spread faster than light. Across hundreds of star systems, alien networks replayed the same impossible footage. Human ships appearing from nothing. Varkul war beasts splitting apart. An ancient unstoppable enemy running in fear. Every species in the Galactic Coalition was shaken. For centuries, the Coalition had believed itself to be the highest power in known space. Their technology was advanced. Their fleets were massive. Their science was refined. Yet none of it had worked. Humanity's strange ghost ships had done what thousands of alien warships could not. High Speaker Zirin stood before the full Coalition Council. His voice was quiet. We were wrong. 1,000 alien leaders watched him. We labeled Earth as primitive. We saw their ion engines and metal hulls and assumed they were children. His eyes darkened. They were not children. They were architects, building something we could not imagine. A crystalline delegate spoke in anger. Then they deceived us. No, Zirin replied. They protected themselves. As any intelligent species would, when surrounded by empires that see weakness as permission. On Earth, Commander Rourke and Dr. Mara Voss watched the same broadcast. They are scared now, Mara said. They should be, Rourke replied. But even as the galaxy adjusted to humanity's rise, a darker truth was revealed. The Varkul were not gone. They were learning. Deep in interstellar voids, the swarm mind studied the battles. It had lost ships, but it had gained data. It could not adapt to phase weapons, yet, but it could search for ways around them. The Varkul did not evolve fast. They evolved endlessly. Back on Earth, Mara stood inside the phase lab, staring at shifting mathematical fields. They will find a way, she said. They always do. Rourke nodded. Then we must stay ahead. The phase armada was expanded. New ships were built larger, faster, smarter. Human engineers worked day and night. They did not sleep. They did not rest. They knew the truth. Humanity had shown its strength once. Now the galaxy would test it. A month later, an emergency signal came from a distant Coalition world. The Varkul have returned, the message said. And they are not the same. When the phase armada arrived, the battlefield was different. Varkul ships were no longer moving blindly. They were emitting strange energy waves. These are dimensional interference fields, Mara said, watching from Earth. They're trying to push our ships out of phase space. The first phase cruiser flickered. Warning alarms rang. They are learning. Captain Kale shouted. The Varkul had not adapted to phase weapons. They had adapted to phase movement. A human ship was forced fully back into normal space. It was immediately attacked by 3 Varkul carriers. Shields failing, the crew cried. Pull it back. Kale ordered. The ship barely escaped. For the first time since the war began, humanity was being pushed. The Varkul swarm spoke as one. We cannot touch your weapons, it said through hacked transmissions. But we can trap your bodies. Fear spread through Coalition space. If the Varkul could counter phase travel, even partially, the advantage would not last forever. On Earth, Rourke stood beside Mara. So what do we do now? Mara looked at the phase equations. Then she smiled. We do what humans always do when physics says no. We rewrite it. The next evolution of phase technology was born. Not invisibility, not intangibility, but something far more dangerous. Humanity would not just hide between dimensions. They would control them. The Varkul believed they were winning. Their new interference fields had begun to trap human ships. Phase travel was no longer perfect. The swarm had found a crack in humanity's greatest weapon. Across the galaxy, alien leaders watched in fear. If the humans fall, many whispered, we fall with them. But on Earth, Dr. Mara Voss was not afraid. She was excited. They think phase space is just a place, she told Commander Rourke. But it's not. It's a system. And systems can be controlled. Inside the deepest human research vault, scientists gathered around a glowing structure. It was not a ship. It was a phase core. A machine that did not move through dimensions. It bent them. We don't just slip between universes anymore, Mara said. We choose where the universe goes. The Varkul did not sense the danger until it was too late. Human ships returned to the battlefield, but they were different. They didn't avoid the interference fields. They entered them. What are they doing? The swarm mind asked. Human vessels activated the new phase cores. Reality twisted. Varkul energy waves bent backward. Entire regions of space folded like cloth. The Varkul ships were suddenly trapped in their own dimensional cages, cut off from normal space. We are stuck, the swarm realized. Captain Kale smiled. Welcome to human engineering. Phase Armada ships began firing. This time, the Varkul could not run, could not adapt, could not evolve. They were trapped in broken pockets of reality, being erased one hive at a time. Coalition fleets watched in awe. The humans weren't just fighting. They were editing existence. Within hours, the main Varkul swarm was gone. Not destroyed. Unmade. The galaxy fell silent. High Speaker Zirin knelt before the human delegation when they arrived. We were wrong, he said. About everything. Rourke looked at him. We never wanted to rule the galaxy, he said. We just wanted to survive it. Mara stepped forward. But if we must become something greater to protect ourselves. She looked at the stars. Then so be it. The age of human isolation was over. The age of human guardianship had begun. The galaxy was quiet for the first time in centuries. The Varkul were gone. Not fleeing. Not hiding. Gone in a way no species had ever witnessed. Their hive worlds had vanished into broken layers of space, sealed away by human phase technology. Every star nation watched Earth now. Some with fear. Some with respect. Some with hope. On the Galactic Council Station, where humans had once been laughed at, a new symbol was added beside the ancient emblems. A blue world with a single bright star. Earth. Commander Elias Rourke stood in the same chamber where humanity had been called primitive. High Speaker Zirin stood across from him, no longer tall in spirit, only in body. We were arrogant, Zirin said. We believed age meant wisdom. We believed advanced technology meant superiority. Rourke spoke calmly. Humans learned long ago that survival doesn't belong to the strongest, but to the ones who adapt. Dr. Mara Voss looked around the chamber. You explored the galaxy. We explored reality itself. The coalition voted that day. Humanity was no longer a protected species. They were recognized as a Tier 1 civilization, a guardian of dimensional stability. Some aliens feared this. But many felt relief. Because when the next unknown threat came, humanity would stand first. Back on Earth, the Phase Armada was no longer hidden. Ships hovered peacefully above oceans and cities, symbols not of conquest, but protection. Children looked up at the sky and saw stars not as limits, but as invitations. Mara stood with Rourke beneath the glowing arc of a phase ship. Do you think we'll ever be normal again? He asked. She smiled. Humans were never normal. We were curious. And curiosity, she knew, was the most powerful force in any universe. Humanity had been called primitive. Now, the galaxy whispered their name with awe. Because when the universe tried to crush them, humans rewrote the rules. And the story of humanity had only just begun.